I was going through this without wasting any time. Welcome again, please. I can see that maybe we have two guests today. People, if you're still new, please have. Sonia, can you please kindly share the registration on in the inbox so that they can fill in the the forms there. So without wasting any time, I would like you to change the slide, put in a safe place for me, please. Thank you, Sonia. So much. As we all know that in these conversations, an accountable space. So anyone that feels like they want to talk, no one will be stepping on. No one will be stopping anyone. But any contribution, it will be accepted. What I mean is that this is a safe space for you to speak or to.
Hello, everyone. I can't hear Nsika. Hello. Can you hear me? Can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Daniela.
Nsika has just
Okay.
disappeared.
As in, has he just dropped off?
Yes, he's dropped off now. I don't see him on.
Okay. Okay. Marisha, I see you are here. Would you be able to just help remind us of the space that we created while Nsika is still trying to get back on?
Yes, no problem. Good afternoon, everybody.
Thank you.
So has a way of always meeting to be reminded and just intentional of knowing that as we come together, we all want to be conscious of how we want to interact together, how we want to learn, how we want to unlearn, how we want to bring ourselves into the space. And some agreements that we often have in the space is one that is safe so that everybody feels that they can be heard, that they are respected. One that's courageous, which means that at times we may feel a little bit of discomfort, or we may feel like we need to speak up and speak out about something, and we want to make sure that the space allows for that as well. And that discomfort is not to bring harm, but to help us grow as we interface with each other, as we share perhaps things that even may be hard. And so we want to hold that together. And with that courage, we commit to journeying together, whatever that journey might be. We commit that there would be mutual kindness and respect as well. And then accountable space is that sometimes being human, we all mess up. We may not understand. We may sometimes hurt or offend, but accountable means that we will take every step to make sure that we repair, we build trust, and we bridge the divides in making sure we taking care of each other. And so that's what our container is. And if you agree to this, then please give us a thumbs up, or just say yes on the chat, I agree, or even you can unmute and say that. So that as we share, as people talk, we have deep listening, we respect each other, and then we offer comfort and care. I see Nsika is back, so I'm going to hand over back to him.
Thank you, Memorishia. I just said let's finish also this one of safeguarding. Then after that, I will take it when we are done. Thank you so much. Apologies, colleagues. Internet just kicked me out. So because of we are few, I just wanted to know, share your thoughts and feelings around mental health, and what do you think about GBV, faith and mental health? And maybe you can open your mic and say something. Also, you can say something in the chat also. Anyone who wants to share something?
Yes, Mkhulu, to you, Chair. I
Thank
just
you
want to
so much.
say that mental health and gender-based violence go hand in hand. Because of gender-based violence, people can have a situation that can affect them mentally because they have not healed, and it takes time. But those are the two critical things that it is a pandemic in South Africa, and that we as the interfaith and diversity of interfaith as well as the healing sector need to look at, because mental health and gender-based violence affect us all. Thanks.
Wow, thank you so much for that insight. And you are honest when you are saying that mental health actually affects us all. In the inbox, Daniel is saying it is said that mental health challenges are so often ignored, which means those suffering end up being isolated, and this make the pain worse. I agree also with you, Daniela, that you've been on point in this one. So I don't know if there's anyone else that want to perhaps have their say. You can do it in the chat or open your mic. Louisa, welcome and have the space. Oh, I thought opening of mic, Louisa, you were saying something. Hi, can you please help me with the inbox there? Do you want to perhaps open a mic, sir, and say something? Welcome.
Okay, welcome
Mackenzie.
everybody. Thank you. Nice to be part of the group. For now,
Okay.
it's all I want to say.
Thank you. Thank you so much. As we can see that maybe those are a few reflections when it comes to sharing our thoughts in terms of mental health. You know, it is important that our actually we consider this is a pain, and mental health is real, and also we need, and we are ignoring this thing every time we're ignoring this. So without wasting any time, also I just want to get to our next slide as I actually welcome Mambulelwa to maybe take us through the rationale for these particular conversations that we are having, you know. So Mambulelwa, can you please have a mic? Thank you.
Zika, and good afternoon and welcome everyone. I think mine is just to the rationale for these lunchtime conversations. And I think, as Marisha have said, these are conversations that are over our lunch as we are drinking our tea and eating our lunch, that we have conversations. But the rationale for this is that the faith sector significantly, as we all know, influences social norms and can bring about positive change by collaborating with broader efforts to address the gender-based violence and femicide. Now, the Faith Action Collective has developed a joint interfaith GBV prevention and mitigation strategy to bridge the gaps within the sector and between the sectors. The lunchtime conversations, therefore, are exploring what does alignment with the national NSP look like, and what particular can we, as the faith sector, work in ending the GBV, gender-based violence. So really, the purpose of all these series is to improve the understanding and synergies between the contributions of the faith sector and the broader GBVF sector, so that we are able to encourage more collaboration for greater impact, as the faith sector cannot do it all alone. And what are the outcomes are we expecting from this? The faith sector firstly understands and actively supports the NSP and its 6 pillars. And therefore, the broader GBVF sector is aware of the faith sector's contributions at all levels and support their work. There is improved then collaboration for greater impact. And hence, we in the prevention and mitigation strategy, one of the work streams is mental health. And today we'll be discussing or having our lunchtime conversation over that. Thank you, Nsika, and over to you.
Oh, Ndiabulela Mama. Thank you so much for actually taking us through the rationale of this series, and maybe perhaps explaining also that how do us a faith sector do we actually link with the NSP. So please take me to the next slide, Sonia. Okay, here I'm going to call upon Daniela to come and perhaps maybe share with us in terms of how does gender-based violence, especially in mental health, like link the work that the faith sector is doing, link with the NSP. Daniela, welcome today to the series, to the conversation, and I hope that you are well. Please, on saying that, please have a microphone. Thank you.
Sorry, am I unmuted now?
Yes, you are audible now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Nsika. I won't take long, but just in interest of us understanding the NSP better and also our own strategy and how it all links together. So under pillar 4, which is response, care, support and healing, is where mental health is mentioned in the NSP, and there are various sort of actions that are planned in the NSP, which runs, of course, for 10 years. We've done 5.5 years now. So some of are just key points that I found when I was just scanning through. The recognition that Leo has already said, that mental health is a key consequence of gender-based violence, among others, like physical health, maybe stigmatization, all those others. But mental health sort of often is, whatever other consequences there are, it is perhaps the negative effect, particularly of chronic gender-based violence. So if somebody's living in a situation of domestic violence, or where they know that their uncle, keeps calling them into the room, or they sneak into their room, or whatever, there can be very, very deep damage, mental health damage done. And mental health is a very, very high risk among children. And the either witnessing or experiencing gender-based violence for children is a high predictor of them becoming abusers or victims or survivors as adults. So it's a kind of an intergenerational challenge. There's also a strong link between gender-based violence, mental illness, and addiction as both a driver and a consequence. But those are all things I think we agree with, and that the mental health group has taken into consideration. But interestingly, there's no mention of the link between spiritual well-being and the link to mental health, which is really something that we as the faith sector would be able to bring into these spaces. And one of the key actions that the NFP promotes is local community-based actions, rapid response teams, as well as other intersectoral referral systems, so that there can be early intervention, because it also speaks about the earlier there is intervention, the happier the outcome in terms of really helping people to be able to get back on an even keel. And this is an area where we can really contribute if we participate in these rapid response teams that are being established. And even if they're not there, that we could perhaps link with the police stations, TCC centers, etc., and possibly offer support there. And then in terms of the prevention, our interfaith strategy, prevention mitigation strategy, as well as our business plan. The mitigation strategy, remember, is quite high level, so it doesn't mention much about mental health in the same way. But the business plan, out of the 3 pathways that was agreed in the process of consulting around what is important, creating safe, caring, inclusive, accountable faith communities is one of the 3 key pathways. And the idea is to work on institutional transformation through internal mechanisms for safety, inclusiveness, and accountability, and that relationships are absolutely critical. So how will we as the faith sector be able to contribute to the promotion of mental health is if people have an increased sense of safety and well-being in our faith communities. And that involves also hosting activities and opening safe spaces, whether it's support group or other spaces, workshop, to equip members of the faith community to address these difficult issues, find solutions. So a lot can be prevented from getting worse. And we've mentioned faith communities as the local community GBV rapid response teams. If we are able to offer that, it would be great to have evidence of improved mental health and resilience amongst faith leaders, members, and survivors. So that's what we've spoken about, what is included. And so you can see quite clearly how the work of the faith sector is really, really important in our broader health as a community and as a society in South Africa. There's just names if people would like to join the NSP Pillar 4 group. Heidi Skit is the person to get hold of. We can put these details on the chat. So that's all from me, Nsika. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Daniela, for actually making easy for our guests and us to understand the link and to understand whether that where we at in terms of making sure that we do speak about GBV and mental health, especially in our working group. So I also say that if you want to join this particular working group, especially faith, gender-based violence, faith, and mental health, led by Bukela, do so. Take your numbers, and please, Sonia, if you're able, or maybe Bukela, to share your own numbers in the chat so our colleagues can have it. Can you please drive me to the next slide, Sonia? I would like to take this moment to give it over to Jill to come and share a little bit about the topic of today. Majil,
Thank you,
Can you?
Nsiga, and hello, everyone. I'm happy to share my story today. When someone raises their voice at me, I hear buzzing in my ears to shut out their words. And this is a coping mechanism I developed through many years of abuse, to shut out the vitriol, the nonsensical accusations, the gaslighting, the screaming. When someone tries to convince me really hard to do something they want me to do, I sometimes stare blankly ahead and try and face the rising paranoia that I am being manipulated by a force greater than myself. When someone drops something next to me, I sometimes startle and I flash back to the episodes of dishes being thrown at me, my cell phone being smashed against the wall, doors being ripped off their hinges. In the oddest of moments, these flashes of PTSD occur. And I sometimes can't put my finger just on what triggered me, but I'm right back there, being hit, being pulled around by my hair, and running down the road at midnight in my pajamas. I was abused in 3 different relationships by 3 different men who had completely different backgrounds. What they all had in common was they said they loved me and they wanted to care for me. Now, what strikes me when looking back is that I also suffered from spiritual abuse, although I didn't know it at the time. I only realized this last year, in fact, when we as the Faith Action Collective, and We Will Speak Out, developed our Interfaith GBV strategy, prevention and mitigation strategy, which introduced spiritual abuse. And I'd like to read the definition. Spiritual abuse is a distortion and exploitation of spiritual authority and sacred texts to manipulate, control, abuse, or harm others, mostly through shame and fear. This may be deliberate or due to ignorance and unconscious bias. In my first relationship, he accused me of being responsible for the Satanists who were after him and said I wasn't a good enough Christian because I couldn't help him, all while hanging me off the balcony of a 4-story building. And this didn't happen only once. In my marriage, he wouldn't let me go to church, and he did everything in his power to isolate me from having a Christian community in my life. In my next abusive relationship, I landed up in hospital after I had harmed myself on a grand scale when I found him cheating on me again. Now, we had been going to church, so I reached out to the pastor, but he wouldn't come and see me or even pray for me because we had recently moved and he said we were out of his geographical parish. So I felt lost spiritually. My abuser had us going to couple counseling at a church of his choosing. And I was told to forgive him and to be supportive and more submissive. The sum total of this abuse, this physical, emotional, and now what I know as spiritual abuse, was shame, guilt, fear, isolation, and confusion. The decade or so of abuse will last me a lifetime, but I chose to slowly put my life back together at my own pace and on my own terms. Years of therapy, life skill courses, personal development programs, journaling, poetry, and lots of prayer. And all this together really helped me in my healing journey. And like many other survivors, I have thrown myself into work to end gender-based violence. And I found that my personal experience fuels my political, professional, and volunteer path. I am now plugged into an amazing church. And last year, we did the Red Chair campaign, which was launched by Faith Action Collective and We Will Speak Out. I introduced the concept in a church service and spoke generally about gender-based violence. And then women came up and gave testimony. It was such a healing moment for me, one of many healing moments on my journey. I wonder, does anyone ever become whole again after being torn apart in so many ways? All I can say is that I've stopped running from the pain, and I deal with it when it comes back, which it does. I don't allow it to haunt me like it used to. I channel my energy into continual healing of myself and working towards ending gender-based violence in our country so that no woman may have to go through what I went through. I am speaking out these days about GBV and what I experienced. And just sharing now today with you is in itself a healing process. And so I thank you for this opportunity that I got to share with you today. Thank you very much. Over to you, Nsiga.
Wow, thank you so much, Majil, for sharing your story. Indeed, your story is touching, and it is what we want to hear for today, as we are actually tapping into the space of mental health and GPV. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to take this time maybe to encourage to just to prepare you that if you want to reflect, you are highly welcome to reflect. On myself, I applaud you for standing up, and it takes a lot to sharing your story. A lot of people they are not able to share their story. They're still thinking about how to, or still eating them. So I'm just gonna give you people time to reflect, perhaps on the story that you have shared. But I don't know, 3 times in a row, and sometimes you tell yourself that you get a husband that does what you do or believe in what you believe. It's more safer than actually getting anyone out there, because that's what we expect that will come from. Without wasting time, let me just see, by opening of your mind, maybe to have a reflection into Gil's story. Dr. Leo or Dr. Figile, the villagers, please rise. Thank you.
I just want to say to Joe that we love you, and healing is a process. The scars never go away, but for you being in the interfaith, doing what you are doing, you are not just healing yourself, you are healing a community. And I also want to say it's not just you that go through this. There are women that are making men also to go through what you went through, and vice versa. So keep on doing what you are doing, because we are a wounded nation. Although all we want is love, recognition, and sometimes abuse leaves so much scars that it takes years, and a little thing that you thought you healed with is triggering you. But I'm very proud of you, Joe, and I'm very proud to be a member of the Interfaith that are doing this work, and we will keep on doing it until we can no more do it, and we will save others, because no woman, no child deserve this. Thank you.
Wow,
Thank you,
thank
Dr.
you,
Leo. That really means
thank,
a lot. Thank you for your words.
thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Lee. Thank you, Gil, for standing up. I don't know if there's anyone else that want to open a mic, maybe to reflect or on what you have heard. You are welcome to do so. This is our lunchtime conversations series. It's happening right here online, and this is the only space in most we can learn and unlearn, perhaps, and maybe learn from more from it. It's so broad coming from Dr. Leo, because I understand where she comes from. It's usually wise and nice when someone that has pain telling you that it is well because of the pain that they have. They know that it's able. And Daniela is saying that thank you for your for courage, Gil, and for your witness to us and others. Words feel inadequate to express how your sharing has affected me. And this is what I thought today when I was preparing for this event. I thought the story of Jesus is going to touch a lot of people. Already yesterday, I was busy trying to. When I woke up, I said I just played gospel because today's flow is going. This is heart to heart matters. And when we speak about mental health, we speak about even the impact that all these things are doing. How do you cope? And how, we just need to go and visit maybe the other slides, check and communicate as participant. You would say how does she cope and how do you cope if things are like this. Sonia, I don't know if there's anyone that is raising their hands. If not, so can you please by keeping on that, maybe we attend to our next slide. Maggie, thank you so much for sharing. This is very inspirational. uh, we will speak out. And we will not stop until something happen, until we see gender equality, until we see equity equalities, and until we see women also be recognized as men, and men we equality silingana, because it's very sad how we experience these things. And men, without saying a wasting time, I don't know if there's anyone, then May Sonia will attend to the next slide so that we can proceed, from this conversation.
Thanks,
Yes,
if I
I
can.
just want to. Yes, we are getting to what are some things that has tracked from Jill's story. So, what is it that maybe we can talk about that we have taken from Jill's story? For myself, when I talk about themes, I can speak about coping mechanism. How do you cope? How did you cope still? You understand? Because for what I come from is that you did all three relationships. You come from the first relationship, you go into another one, and exactly this thing, it looks like a trend. And how do you like? I just need to know how possible. How do you cope? So those are maybe things that I'm looking into when we get to this point. But and also in terms of recovering, healing, and what steps are they taking so that you can see that you are healing, and what makes it easier for you to heal or anyone to heal when we talk about these particular stories. So on that, I don't know if anyone wants to say anything, or Gil, perhaps you want to get in and tell me that coping mechanism. How do you do that?
Can I say something?
Yes, please.
It's Louise speaking. I'm reflecting about the conversations before, and
Yes.
this it reminds me of what I went through years ago when I was still married. I'm divorced now for almost 14 years, I think. No, not 14 years, less, but over 10 years. And we were very active in church. And he was a spiritual worker. My husband was evangelist in the church. And he used it to abuse me and to manipulate me, not physically, but with words. And yeah, so we couldn't pull through with the marriage because I couldn't cope with it, using the word of God to overpower me, to say, or to make me feel that whatever I try to communicate in terms of the reality, what is going on in the marriage, he used the word to say, but you can't say that because the word of God, so and so and so. But what I did, to come back to your question, how do you cope? I was very depressed at that time. When you get through divorces, when you go through divorces, you're very, very sick. So I've been in a clinic, and I didn't want to stay in the clinic because I didn't want the children to know that I am sick, because I try to stay up for them, stay strong for them. And so I went daily in for my sessions, and that was actually a problem because it was more strain and more difficult to come back every time instead of staying and get some help and healing. But what I did was getting in, because I like craft, I went into painting, and that was my coping mechanism. And I started using that coping method uh, to inspire myself, and friends support me through that, because they were all painters and arts and craft. We were all into arts and crafts. And in the end, I used that as a as a small entrepreneur business also. Mm. So that is how I start coping. Not as strong, it was just for. Actually, I start doing that in church. I went to churches and I used that craft session as a form of debriefing also. And I struggle now with the English word, but it was that was my coping mechanism. And every time when I went to groups or youth groups or women groups on camps or in the congregations, my message was always that arts and crafts is part of stress relief, stress relieving, and as a form to navigate through other things. So that helped me a lot. That helped me a lot. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Lisa, for actually sharing and perhaps introducing and telling us how do you cope. And thank you also for rising, because when we do conversation like this, we're not expecting only our guests to perhaps maybe share, but anyone that has been in the journey, you know. And by saying that, Jill, and Luisa, on that, I see what also the results of spiritual abuse does. Because after being tortured by scriptures or by toxic norms, you know, it affects you eventually, you know. And saying that from your story also, Angel, I'm really, 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 a South Africa woman needs people like you know. Every time when I hear a sad story, I see there's no need for us to harm each other like this. Um, I don't know if there's anyone who's raising their hands up. Ah, Pastor Messi, please take the floor. Thank you. Pastor,
Thank you, family. Thank you. Thank you,
thank
Nzika. Yes. Bravo, bravo, Jill. What you are doing is so great, man of God. It's not easy. I also went the same challenges as you experienced. I opened this NPO of gender.
Pastor, are you there? Pastor, are you
Did you
there?
hear me? Did you hear me?
No, not at all, Pastor. We
Okay.
ended where you say you
I
opened an
said
NPO.
bravo.
Yes.
Yes, I said bravo, Mom Jill. I also went through those things that you are speaking with. Mine, it was only 2 marriages, but yeah, it was the same thing. So I started this NPO of gender-based violence advocacy awareness is because of my experience. So yeah, what you are doing, it takes someone to be brave and know what exactly she wants. Thank you so much.
Wow. Thank you so much, Pastor Messi, for clapping. And also, I just want to hear from your outpiece, Megil, just your outpiece, in terms of what the previous colleagues have said? What is it that you want to add?
Thank you, Nsiga. Thank you, Louise, for being so brave to share so openly. I do relate to you saying that you had found a coping mechanism in arts and crafts. I did that myself for a while, and then I also did a lot of poetry. So I relate to your coping mechanism very well. And thank you very much, Mercy, for your input. And yes, so many of us have experienced that, but it's bravo to you for opening an NPO. And that, I must say, would seem to be also a practical way of healing. So that is great to hear that from you. For me, coping mechanisms at the time, I didn't have any. It was only in later years that I managed to develop coping mechanisms. And for me, a lot of it was around poetry. I would write a lot of poetry, and I would then be able to get my feelings out. Because so often in the middle of an abusive situation, your feelings are never validated. And in fact, you actually question yourself. You question your feelings. You question your thinking. You question your very sanity. You think you're going mad. You think everything is your fault. So I found poetry and journaling were a great way of coping. And this I still do to this day. So it's grown with me over the years. It's been years since I've been in abusive relationships, but I don't know if we ever heal. It's always there lurking. It's like having a physical scar can heal, but an emotional scar is there, and it's ready to be ripped open and ooze out at the slightest provocation. So for me, it's a continual journey. Sometimes daily, sometimes I don't have anything that gives me flashbacks or reminders, sometimes for months, but I think it's there. So it's important to have coping mechanisms. Thanks, Nsiga. You're muted, Nsiga.
I think he's dropped off.
Are there any sign of him coming back, Shant?
I'm just checking with him.
Okay. Otherwise, we can also continue to talk on the chat, or if anybody would like to, because the conversation doesn't always have to go through a facilitator, we can continue to talk with one another. I think the space has really been opened, and thank you so much, Mercy, as well, for your sharing. So if we just maybe spend time also just reflecting. I think we've all been stirred, so we can also use the moment to just get in touch with where we are and who we are. And if you feel like just sharing or responding on the chat or just speaking, we don't even need to put up hands and so on. There's only very few of us. So let's just hold the space open and allow God to bring them in a way that God knows how.
Good morning, leaders. Can I speak?
Of course, don't ask for permission. Let's just have a conversation.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you. This is Mafungwase. Thank you so much for the group. It's a very touchy topic for me. Thank you so much, Jill. Yeah, one touches the base as well. Trauma, mental health. Before I attended the We Will Speak Up FLTP, I was one of the pastors who slightly think mental health can't be cured by prayer until it hit me exactly in the middle of the session, FLTP in Johannesburg. Traumatic experience, but I learned that day that you don't have to be strong, or you don't have to have a certain qualification or a certain position to be hidden by a trauma or mental health. Early this year, January, okay, I got help. Marisha did help a lot. Daniela was very supportive, and I'm really grateful that I attended FLTP last year and the year before. Early this year, my brother is IT at one of the companies in Umhlanga in Durban. He had a mental breakdown, and it was mostly a spiritual mental breakdown, pressure from church, expectations and everything. It was worse. It was worse to the point that at some point I had to sleep in the car because I had to safeguard him, because the people in the center were no longer comfortable about him being outside, standing in the rain and everything. I learned that mental health can go so far until someone kills himself or lose everything, because at some point he wanted to resign. I don't want to talk about my brother, but I went through it. But there's two things that I've learned, and there's one thing that I will wish the group can help us on, that will help us as pastors, us as family members, us as community to move forward or to deal with situations like that or matters like that. The struggle started when I had to admit him, because now he was a danger to himself, danger to the society, didn't want to go to work. And then he's got a medical aid, but the medical aid couldn't help him, because when I'm calling the Crimpton Hospital, they're telling me if you want to go home, they will let him go. I'm calling the ambulance came, then he spoke to the ambulance people that he's not sick, so they can't take him. I went to the SAPS are telling me that they can take him, unfortunately. That was the worst traumatic part. That's one thing that I felt families are more affected and infected by what one family member is going through in a mental situation. I even went to magistrate because now I didn't know how does the law goes. As a pastor, believe me. Until one lady advised me to go to the private hospital, to the government hospital. Apparently in the government hospital, there's a form that you fill, I think it's form 54 something, a voluntary form that you fill on behalf of a family member, that you are admitting him or her unwillingly, but you are signing. But also it was a stress to take him from Pinetown to that hospital. The SAPS couldn't help me because they say these days the law says they can't touch a person unless he's violent. So he was not violent. Because one day the victim will open the case and then against the police and everything. I had to hire a security company so that the guys can help me. He's my younger brother, but he's 38, to pick him up and take him to the hospital. Now I have to cover a bill. I have to pay these guys. I have to pay the car. I have to pay everything. But it was okay. But the trauma that he was going through, and the trauma that I had to go through for 2 weeks, I couldn't attend work because I had to stay with him. The trauma that the people in the center, flats that he's staying with, that are facing, they were going through, because they know him as a very humble guy. He's a preacher at church and everything. The unknown information of what to do, that was the key for me. What to do when you're facing a breakdown like that. What, as a family member, what do you have to do? Who to go to, where to turn to? What is the first thing that you do for that person to be safe and everything? That was the first thing that I learned, that we lacking on it. But the second thing that helped me when I was going through all this trauma, I had to visit him in the hospital every day because now he wanted to leave the hospital. And as I was staying there, you know, with the other families, I'm sharing his story, families are sharing their story. I remember one mother coming from Zululand side, he had to sleep in the hospital because he doesn't have a transport money to go in and back. Because at that time, they were not yet admitted. So they were in the emergency room, and you can't leave him in emergency room until he's admitted. So I'm sharing this. He said, you know what, these things are happening, and it's not a witchcraft. It's a lot of things that is happening to a person. I find myself healing other people, and I was healing too in the talking space that we opened there. I remember at some point they were calling me, where are you today? We're not seeing you because we want to talk to you. So the healing, the talking, the group, the safe space, I'm still encouraging, I'm still applauding this space that the We Will Speak Up open for us, Faith in Action open for us. That this lunch, it's really working. It's helping a lot of people. It helped me. It helped a lot of other people to know that you have people that you can share with, to know that you can hear someone talking about something different to yours, and then they achieved or they succeeded or they went through it. I'm really grateful that the Lord had given me the weapons, you know, to stand. But even if I had all those weapons, I still trembled in between. I still felt in between. But I got some healing, you know, through the safe space, through the group, through Daniela, through Marisha, you know, in the middle of busy days, but I was willing to send a chat, yo, I'm dying. And they were just there, you know. That minute saying you're going to go through this, to meant a lot. So one thing that I'm sharing this is because I wish we can have Daniela ways, I don't want to say rules, or the list, you know, those lists. What do you do when a person is raped? Who do you call? The referrals, same as here in mental health or trauma. Maybe those step list, what do you do? Who do you contact? Who do you go to? If it's this stage, you know, those referrals that we have in the other small booklets that we share, the catalogs that we share. Probably if we can also have this step-to-step list, I don't know how possible this is, but I saw the gap on it. That the simple question, what do you do when your family member, when yourself, you're going through a mental disturbance or a mental trauma or stress or depression? Because we usually run to church, and naive as we are as pastors, I'm sorry to use this word, we then rush to a prayer or you rush to a word. At that time, I didn't want anyone to share a word with me. I didn't want a word of God those days because they were not helping me in that time. And I learned that sometimes we are so quick to send the word of God. We know it strengthens people, but sometimes a person needs you to call or need you to say, listen, you're going to go through this. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much again for Rise and Rev. You know, this day it's this topic is so deep and it's emotional. Because you know, you see, we are all here with discuss that when you hear someone talking, eventually when you hear from them, something comes and give you hope and say, my daughter, my son, it is not yet time. because it's such stories when we hear and we come with words such as, even though the devil thinks that he's done with you, and you must always remember that God is always is the beginning of God life in your life. Like God is starting to use you. If the devil thinks, now I'm done with them, you must know God is starting to work with you. Because in all these pains that we have went through, but still yet God wants us to rise and heal with what we have. And I just say that I am so inspired today, and I am actually taken away, and I'm blessed to hear um, there's stories actually, and I even see that on the in the chat it's happening. In the chat it's happening. Daniel and Luisa, they're having a conversation, and thank you so much for opening. I'd like to also to emphasize that my greatness to thank or speak out the faith action, to bring us an interfaith in this space like that, more especially to actually give people like Daniela, give people like Marisha, give people like everyone. We are here for each other. This is a safe space that we have created. I'm very grateful for you guys, and may God of ancestors continue to bless you. So I don't know if ever there's anyone else that want to just. I'm gonna give few minutes for anyone that want to uh, to say yes. I've had. Yes, I'm, today I've noticed that, I'm not alone, but we are together. And with our work, as a faith action and pursuing the interfaith space, that there must be peace, there must be healing. And what do you think? It is an important thing that we must do to make sure that um, we cannot avoid such things, but to make sure that we teach the younger ones. But I would love, I don't want to make these conversations to be very deep as it is now, but I like when you want to deepen the work and to find solutions to what is happening. And we are grateful for this particular conversations that are happening. I'm very proud. A few people may notice the greatness of it, but things they do make impact after they've also been launched. What I'm saying is that if you have one thing to say that you want to say, please rise and say, Nzega, this is how I feel today, and this is how it went, and this is what I've taken away. These conversations, they are very important. I will always be saying that yes, indeed, you are very welcome in the Lunchtime Online Conversation series that is brought to you by Faith Action. As we know that in the space we are an interfaith and diverse faith. So I don't know if you have something to say. Can I just see your hand up? Going to our next. Yes.
I'm really humbled.
Thank you.
I'm really humbled as a new participant. That's my first meeting with you. And the more you open up, the more you facilitate the healing process.
Amen.
And, at some instances, you find that now in your life, after a very long time, you start to realize that now you are leaning against a wrong wall. So what you're trying to do is now, you try to actually now save or keep what you have in mind in order to prosper. In other words, like you say now, for the sake of the children, for the sake of the relationship, I will stay.
Mm.
And that's when now actually this demon actually starts to inflict more pain into you. So I would greatly urge all of us actually to involve the faith sector to actually play a role when it comes to that. Out of 10 faith-related sectors, you find that now, okay, two of them actually are actually participating or maybe giving more insight about that. So I would actually urge the faith sector to be much more open, and actually facilitating also maybe workshops for that, irrespective of the race, color, and the creed also. And I'm very much humbled by the participants, most especially by the lady by the name of, I think it's Gil. I was touched. It's actually now, this is a way forward. This is how you heal, you open up. But sometimes you find that now, when you are starting to open up, you find that now the person that you actually expecting to lean on that's the wrong person to actually to lean on to. Because now, when it comes to the advice, the insight, you don't get enough support from that particular person. Hence, you have made up with your mind that now this is the person I want to actually now pour out my heart to. So I would urge also the traditional healing sector also to be much more involved in that. I don't have much to say at the moment because now that's my first session with you. I'm looking forward to learning more from you. Thank you very much. That's Mackenzie.
Mackenzie, thank you so much for rising, and thank you so much for touching base, especially when you say traditional healing, to focus in this particular matter. Yes, it is truth indeed, and especially in healing, it is indeed what we had in conversations about healing when we were having a G20 conversation on positive masculine. We emphasize the matter of healing, and the healing it's healing for community, healing for individuals. There's a lot where this mental health and gender-based violence comes from. We need to heal that. So without wasting any time, ladies and gentlemen, and I am so emotionally, and I'm grateful for sharing your stories and also for being honest. Indeed, I will always remind you guys that indeed it is the third lunchtime online conversation brought to you by Faith Action, powered by Who Will Speak Out SA. And without wasting time, I like as we look at, I'm just going to give you 2 minutes. Then 2 minutes, I'm jumping to another slide. If you want to say something, please push it 2 minutes. In 37 minutes, in 2 minutes, I'll be getting to another slide. So I'm giving it over to you. I'm going to see with your mic open that you are in fire. There's something that you want to say. Okay, I think I should proceed. We are going to the outlines, upcoming events and sessions. On we have our events that we are having, and it's outlines of upcoming sessions on GBV and the NSP, the interfaith strategy of our work. So I just want to read before I proceed. Louise is saying workshops on how to listen, support, and more. The importance of confidentiality if congregants or members coming to share stories, church council lack a lot. Thank you so much for raising such things, and hopefully you will be joining Mambugelo in the working group, so that we need such contributions, such people who have a way forward. And it is good, yes, to talk about problems, but a doctrine is when we now looking at the solutions, how to actually get a medicine that will kill this virus of gender-based violence and mental health. Without wasting any time, I don't know if ever there's a microphone open. If not, I'll proceed. Theme. We are looking. Can you please? We are looking there on the screen. So on the 22nd of October, 2025, we are going to have a theme: healing children, older person, and family restorations. Please let us invite other people that are coming. Let us share broad society. Let us make sure that we bring anyone that is interested in such conversations of healing and children and older persons and family restoration. When we talk about restoration, we are in our space. We are talking in vuselelo. It means where we want to see the peace, or people living with peace and happiness in vuselelo. And on the 12th of November 2025, masculinities and active positive presence of men as partners and as fathers. That will be a topic that will be happening on the 12th of November 2025. It is indeed the lunchtime that we have here. Please do invite others to come in the space. And the other one, on the 26th of November 2025, we're going to have inclusivity, strengthening relationship, and building movement. That is happening still in this chat. Make sure that you are coming and your voice is important, because with this voice, we are learning from it. And with this voice, we are unlearning from it. With this voice, we are healing people. With this voice, we are making sure that we are building even for tomorrow. Without wasting time again, on the 3rd of December 2025, we're going to have a reflection and recap of previous emerging themes. So that's where basically we're going to we reflect on what happened and what was so important. What did we capture in all this series? And we think this series, people can learn from them as much as we do learn. Another slide. Outline of sessions, themes that is happening next year is restorative justice 2026, and the 25th of February 2026 is youth. And 11 March 2026 is going to be transformative training programs building and GBV competent faith communities. And also on the 25th of March 2026, we're having an additional theme raised during the series, sharing lessons learned and way forward planning, 8 April 2026. This is where we're going to be reflecting and sharing that, okay, because we've spoken about this, so now what is the way forward? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. You were great here today. Sometimes I believe that when good things come, they don't come to many people, it comes to 3 people, and when it lands, they become life. Because even when you read the Bible, for those who use the Bible, it says, where 2 or 3 are gathered in my midst, I will be in there. When in my name, I shall be in their midst. That means if you are here and we are here doing people's things, and we are about God's word of bringing peace, definitely we are safe. Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached our interfaith space for our interfaith flash. And as we are doing this here, I would like to have participants to read from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. 4 people that will volunteer to read the pledge, the interfaith pledge. And the third one, the 5th one, which is the red, we will do it together. So can I have anyone for number 1?
I'll read that, Nsika.
Thank you, Mambulelwa. The second one?
I can do that.
Thank you so much, Miguel. The third one?
I'll do the third one.
Thank you so much. The fourth one?
I can do it, Sika.
Thank you so much, Miguel. Ladies and gentlemen, Mebulelwa, let us roll.
Gender-based violence is unacceptable, inexcusable, and intolerable in all its manifestations.
Yet, we confess that we have sometimes chosen not to see or tolerated gender-based violence. We have been collaborators and co-conspirators against the very essence of our creation.
From our platform, within local communities, people of faith potentially play a vital role in raising awareness, advocating for survivors' rights and against impunity, holding perpetrators accountable, and challenging harmful gender norms and gender injustices without fear or favor.
Yet we confess that we have often been complicit by our silence, our inaction, our misuse of sacred texts, and our rigid structures that silence or exclude diversity. Thus, we have undermined God's image in all people.
Therefore,
we
commit
to standing
up,
speaking out, and taking decisive action, and to be accountable
to survivors,
to each other, and
to God.
Right on time, ladies and gentlemen. Let me thank you for attending the lunchtime. Please let's not forget to invite other people. It is great to be here. Gumnandu Gubalana. Grateful to our speakers, our guests today, and everyone that has participated. We love you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Until we meet next time. Thank you so much.
We love you too, brother. Thank you so much, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bless you all.
Bye.